Okay, welcome back to another guide for Pokkén Tournament DX. This time we're going to work on the character Mewtwo. Now Mewtwo is in the original game for the Wii U. Mewtwo and Shadow Mewtwo were hidden characters that would unlock upon beating the story mode. In Pokkén Tournament DX, all of the characters are available, including these two. The gimmick with Mewtwo and Shadow Mewtwo is that they share at least one move with every character in the roster except for the 4 arcade characters, Darkrai, Scizor, Croagunk, and who's the last one? Oh, Empoleon. Yeah, Darkrai, Scizor, Croagunk, and Empoleon. They don't share any moves with Decidueye, and they don't share any moves with the DLC characters Aegislash and Blastoise. But aside from that, they do share it with everybody else. I'm going to run Mewtwo and Charizard because Charizard has some moves that I think I need to demonstrate. Supports don't matter here. We're going to go to the final stage in the story mode, the Dark Coliseum. Okay, so let's see. I think the only thing I need to explain for you all is the gimmick of Mewtwo. Mewtwo's gimmick specifically is that all of its special attacks drain its synergy gauge. All right, every single one of them. So if you look at the bottom left corner here, all of my skills are sapping my synergy. Adversely, Shadow Mewtwo's special abilities will drain its HP. And I think that's it. Mewtwo's a standard character. All of its moves, all of its movement is very good. Usually with standard characters, you have to get creative in what you do. Mewtwo's field phase movement is very good, just all around the board. It's got good movement, good counter ability. You know, its jumps are good. Everything about its movement is really good. Okay, we can start with its weak attacks. It's the standard weak attack. We'll call those Y attacks. Okay, so your standard Y shoots out 3 shadow balls. Those shadow balls have very weak tracking. They don't travel very far. They don't travel, well, they do travel far, but they don't travel very fast. Okay, usually you would follow these up with a special attack. So if you press the button twice, you'll automatically go into Mewtwo Psycho Cut, and you're usually going to do that often. And I think that's all that is to that one. His side special, or its side weak attack, sends out 3 like psychic discs. I don't know if these are like Psycho Cut discs or whatever, but those are 3 discs. They go and they home toward the opponent. Their homing is a little bit better than the shadow balls. They will follow more closely if your opponent moves left and right. Again, you can follow those up with Psycho Cut, or you can follow those up with any other special that you want. The back special is Braixen's Fire Spin. Okay, usually you're going to use this move from far away because it has a lot of setup. You're either going to use it from far away so that you can recover before your opponent reaches you, or you're going to use it when they are knocked down. Okay, as an easy move to set up with, you know, and force them to, you know, block. Usually if you hit your opponent with this, you can follow it up again with Psycho Cut. Okay, or whatever other special you want to at the time. And that's all that is to that. I will hold the shield so that you can see just how long it takes to recover and shield. So if you're just watching the animation, you can see that it's once you use the move, you can't cancel it. You have to commit to it. Mewtwo's forward weak attack is, I don't think there's a special name for it, but this is a command counter. It's not the kind of counter that you can, it's not a frame 1 counter, so it's not one that you can use it on as a reaction. It's something you use to anticipate moves. That's very good for wiping out projectiles. Let me see, does Charizard have? Charizard's got plenty of projectiles, so okay, that should be good. What? Yeah. Can't use it to react. Well, you see, the move is so good that it's traveling very far and it's hitting Charizard, so I can't adequately demonstrate that. I should have picked a different character. But typically, it's got a whole lot of range on it. And like I said, it's a very good counter attack. Very good for wiping out projectiles. You shouldn't have any problem using this. It also works against melee attacks. Just make sure that you're using it to anticipate an attack, and you should be fine. If you land a hit with it, it will cause a phase shift. Mewtwo's JY, or jumping Y, or jumping weak attack, is, I believe, Weavile's Icicle Spear. This is a really weak attack, but it is good if you're like somebody's in the air and they're coming at you and they haven't thrown out a projectile yet. You're like, if they're jumping over to you, you can use this move to retreat with, or you can use this move to you know, advance on somebody. One nice thing about this is that you can use this as a cross up because it carries Mewtwo's, it carries Mewtwo's forward momentum. So you can jump over somebody, use the move, and Mewtwo will continue to fly straight in the air until the move, until it throws out those icicles. You can aim it straight, you can aim it to the left, and you can aim it to the right. Also, each icicle does its own damage, so if you hit your opponent with 1, you'll do a certain amount of damage. If you hit him with 2, you'll do a little more. And if Charizard was in the air, I think I might be able to hit him with 3. Okay, and that'll be even more damage than that 64 that you see. I think that's it for all of the weak attacks. For the strong attacks, there are 2. There's 1 on the ground, 1 in the air. So the grounded strong attack is Mewtwo's Pursuit Attack. It's a 3 input, 6 hit attack. It's an uppercut into a kick into another punch. This is what it looks like when you charge it up. If you charge it up on a shield, you will be able to break that shield. But keep in mind that you can be grabbed out of this right here. That punch, while it's being charged up, you can be grabbed out of that punch. You should also pay attention to the first hit in this move, which is the uppercut. If you see that blue fist aura that Mewtwo is sending out, that blue fist aura is an extended hitbox, and it will hit opponents that try to jump away or jump over you. You can very easily catch your opponent with that. And you can just kind of throw out the singles just to keep them from jumping, and then go into, you know, the rest of the combo whenever you want. Okay, pretty versatile as far as pursuit attacks go. It's a very good pursuit attack. I think it's one of the only ones that can hit your opponent out of the air like for free, with the exception of like maybe Charizard's pursuit attack. And the next one is the JX, or the jumping strong attack, which is Braixen's light screen. Now, Braixen's light screen behaves in that it is used as a counterattack, and it eliminates projectiles. Mewtwo's, even though it does the light screen animation, it doesn't function as light screen, so you can still be hit out of the air with it by projectiles. I was just doing that in dual phase so you can see what it looks like a little bit better. But once you land a hit with this in field phase, it will cause a phase shift. That's really its only use in dual phase. It's used as a combo starter. And that's it for Mewtwo strong attacks. The special attacks are pretty fun, but keep in mind again, all of Mewtwo's special attacks will drain its synergy gauge, so you have to be a bit more aware and decide whether or not you want to stick with melee. If you don't care about building up Mewtwo's synergy gauge, then you can just do your deal, just throw out specials as you see fit, but you may be predictable if all you're doing is throwing out specials. Mewtwo's standard special is Psycho Cut. Okay, this move travels, it's a fast attack, it comes out fast, it travels far, and it travels fast. Okay, if you press the button twice, you go into an auto dash that will end in a finisher. The finisher will always shift or phase shift on your opponent. If you try to hit your opponent from, say, this distance, you will not land that attack. Okay, sometimes I have to demonstrate this to make the computer do something. If you try to hit your opponent with Psycho Cut from this, you will never hit, okay, because your opponent will have the time to recover and go into the shield. You can cancel out of the auto dash by pressing the R button or pressing the block button, depending on whatever you have your block button set to. You know, just a way to get around this is that you can Psycho Cut, cancel like right in your opponent's face when they block, and then go for a grab. Mewtwo's grab is among the best in the game. It's a very fast grab compared to the rest of the cast. So what you would do is just throw a Psycho Cut, dash, and as soon as they throw that shield up, like, you don't even have to wait for the shield. It's just if you think they're gonna block or counter, just go for the grab anyway. And you know, that's just a way to get around being predictable with that finisher, okay, because that finisher is not always gonna hit. All right, let's see. Oh, you can also cancel in any of the other directions. depending on, you know, how the fight is going. And I think that's it for Psycho Cut. Next is, I think we can do the back special. The back special is Barrier. Barrier transitions into 4 different moves, depending on if you're doing a weak attack, if you're doing a strong attack, if you're doing a special, or if you're jumping. Okay, now Barrier by itself is a counter attack. What can we have you do? Barrier by itself is a counter attack. It doesn't do anything else. You have to do some kind of a follow-up. Okay, the weak follow-up out of Barrier in field phase, well, in all phases, the weak attack follow-up out of Barrier is a command grab. This is Sidekick. In field phase, you can just use this to transition into a pursuit attack, and that will cause a phase shift. Wow, that looked like a particle effect for a second. That little square. The nice little touch that developers have done in this game is that they have given you to, well, if you land Sidekick, you can see that lens flare in its eye. Well, I screwed up that combo. But anyway, I just wanted to show that lens flare and his eyes turn blue like it does in the first movie. Yeah, I can't do that string on Charizard because he's too big. I can do it if he's a little bit shorter. But that's the weak follow-up. The strong follow-up is one that you'll probably use a little more often. This one is Drain Punch. All right, so you do Barrier and then do a strong attack into it. It's a kind of a lunging attack, so you can hit your opponent if they're just a little bit out of reach. This move will drain your opponent's HP. It's hard to see here because the training mode HP bars always auto recover, which is pretty irritating. But this move will drain HP and it will drain synergy. So if you look at the purple bar at the bottom left corner of the screen and say, just watch me do a pursuit attack and how much synergy I get off of that. Okay. Or if you see me do a different kind of special, you see how much synergy I'm getting at. It comes maybe up to the T, and I try to land a jumping strong and see how much synergy I'm getting off of that. And then if we do a Drain Punch, I'm filling up about 15 to 20% of Mewtwo's synergy gauge. So if you see an opening to get that done, you can go for the Drain Punch. The Drain Punch does do less damage than all of those other options I just demonstrated, but you get a lot more synergy for it. Okay, just keep that in mind. The third follow-up that you can do out of this is the special follow-up, which is Confusion. In this game, Confusion does not cause a phase shift ever. Okay, and if you do it raw, you will stagger your opponent. Let me see. Can you stagger if you don't get the crit? You cannot stagger if you don't get the crit. Okay, so if your opponent does a normal attack, whereas Barrier is the counter, Confusion is the counter attack. So if you land this move, if you land it as a critical hit, you will stun your opponent and that will open them up for you to do whatever else you want to do, and you have a lot more options to work with in dual phase. It's a very good reversal. You should use it. I wouldn't say too often, but you should definitely use it liberally. Like if you think your opponent's going to you know, screw up. Usually for offense, you're going to use Confusion and you're going to use Drain Punch, and you're going to alternate between those two a lot. Okay, so get the hang of using those. Let's see. And then the last one is jumping. If you jump, you will use Teleport. Now, different from all of Mewtwo's other special attacks, using Teleport will not cause you to drain any synergy. This move is shared with Gardevoir. Gardevoir also has Teleport in her moveset, but Mewtwo travels much farther. So you can travel straight up just by pressing the button, or you can move in any of the 4 cardinal directions. You can see just how much space I'm traveling. Okay, you can move forward, backward, you can move to the left, and you can move to the right. And once you're in the air, you have access to all of Mewtwo's other moves. Okay, so you can move freely and do whatever you like. And I think that's it for the special attacks. Okay, no, that's not. That's it for the Barrier special attacks. The JA, or jumping special, is, I'm gonna do this in dual phase because it's easier to see. This is because this game is developed by Bandai Namco, who also handles the Dragon Ball Z fighting games. Mewtwo's, this is Focus Blast, but this looks like Frieza's Death Ball. It has 2 versions. It has a smaller version and it has a much longer much larger version. The upside to this move is that it's got a very big hitbox and they tend to get rid of projectiles very easily. The drawback to it is that it's extremely telegraphed, and if you use it too often, your opponent's going to punish you every time for it. It's not a good idea to use this move right on top of your opponent, okay, because all they're going to do is just walk behind you and then tag you on your landing. I like to use this move like if I need to stay in the air for longer than my jump will allow and I need to get rid of some projectiles, or if I just need to avoid an opponent's long attack, then I can throw this move out. You won't be using this move often, okay? It's one of those, if you have to use it and there's no better option, then yeah, you can go for it, okay? The last special attack is the forward special, which is everybody's favorite. This is Hyper Beam. It looks like that, and I think what the developers have done here is they've given it the sound effect of Hyper Beam from the first generation of Pokemon games, like Red, Green, Blue, and Yellow. I think it shares that same sound effect, as is the case with all of the other beam characters shared among characters, is that if you are too far away from your opponent, you will get the damage, but you won't get the knockback. What's different with Mewtwo is that Mewtwo can be a little bit farther away from its opponent than other characters who have beam attacks and still be able to get the phase shift off of Hyper Beam. And this is because, number one, Hyper Beam does so much damage, but number two, because as is the case in the main games, after using Hyper Beam, the user must recharge. So when Mewtwo throws out a Hyper Beam, you're going to see it go into that little resting animation, or that like exhausted animation. You're completely open when resting, okay? So I'll like keep the shield held after throwing out the Hyper Beam so you can see just how long it takes to recover out of that. Just so you guys are aware, what you can do is cancel the Hyper Beam into a jump. You can do it early. You can do it about, whoops, you can do it as early as this, or you can do it late. Okay, now this jump is transitioning into teleport. So again, once you teleport, you can transition into any of Mewtwo's aerial attacks, however you want to work with that. This move is pretty much always an ender, okay? Always an ender, unless your opponent is like way far away and they're just being stupid. You can just throw that out and tell them to stop. Okay, keep in mind that the synergy return on Hyper Beam is horrible. You're always going to lose synergy. Even if you land all the hits of it, you're always going to lose more synergy than you would gain from landing all the hits on it. So use that sparingly, use it as you need to. And I think that's it for all of the field phase attacks. This is Mewtwo's counterattack. Mewtwo's counterattack is a ground-based counterattack, so it if your opponent is in the air at all, they will always miss this move. That's just what it looks like. The other deal is that Mewtwo has an air dash. Okay, Mewtwo's air dash, there are two versions of it. One is by jumping and then pressing the block button or the R button or whatever you have that button assigned to. This is what it looks like. It's a little short air dash. It's okay. Okay, you can use it as you need to. The other variant is done by pressing away from your opponent and pressing the air dash button. So when you do that, you'll get a very short air dash. Okay, in field phase, this move has like very little use outside of like evading projectiles as you need to. But in dual phase, it's one of the major ways for Mewtwo to gain damage and, you know, put damage down on its opponent. And I think that's it. This is Mewtwo's grab in field phase. Okay, so I think we can start with the dual phase attacks now. So first I'll go over Mewtwo's movement in dual phase. Mewtwo has some of the best movement in dual phase among the cast. This is Mewtwo's back walk. This is Mewtwo's forward walk. It's extremely fast compared to everybody else. This is Mewtwo's back dash and forward dash. You should have no problem maneuvering and doing what you want in field phase. In dual phase, it is very fun playing with Mewtwo in dual phase, especially when you're fighting another character or another player that's like at your skill level or even above your skill level. Fights get really nice. Mewtwo's high stance. Mewtwo's high stance will charge its synergy gauge. I think you cover maybe 1.85% of Mewtwo's synergy gauge will fill every time its little bar ticks, as you can see right there. So if you do this for about 5 seconds, you can cover about almost 10% of Mewtwo's synergy gauge. Okay, this is important because Mewtwo is going to force neutral a lot. Okay, a lot of times you're going to be sitting right here in this range and trying to toss out attacks at your opponent every now and then. And when that happens, like especially if you have a life lead, just do the up stance. Okay, get in the hang of not sitting in your normal stance. Just go right into up stance, and it will matter. Okay, it will really matter when you do this. Now, Mewtwo is such a huge character. In fact, Mewtwo is, I think, the tallest character in the game. Yeah, it's taller than Charizard. And then when it goes in the high stance, I don't think the high stance adds any more height. But Mewtwo's just super tall. Okay, as a result, Mewtwo cannot duck under high attacks. Okay, but Mewtwo with, let me think. There's a way you can get under high attacks. If you press the 2x will put Mewtwo in a low profile, and that will allow Mewtwo to evade high attacks. Sometimes you'll use it. Sometimes you'll use that, but not often. Okay, but the trade-off is that Mewtwo's low stance will auto counter low attacks. That includes weak attacks, strong attacks, and special attacks. So if we do that, and it'll look like that, and you'll be able to get that. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, it's not a hopeless fight. Okay, you're just gonna get the hang of doing that as you play. Okay, again, Mewtwo's counterattack is a low. If your opponent jumps at all for any reason, they will evade it. I'll just show that. Alright. Only reason why Charizard is getting hit is because he's landing on the counterattack while it's still active. Let's see. I keep going into field phase. I need to stop doing that. Let's see. This is Mewtwo's grab out of duel phase into field. And with that, I think we can start with the attacks. So Mewtwo has a 2-hit weak attack. You get 1, 2, 1, 2. That's what it looks like. You can transition into any specials. If you just mash the button, you'll go into Psycho Cut and his finisher, but you can also transition into any of your other specials if you want. Well, with the exception of Hyper Beam, because that takes hopelessly. It's a very long attack. You're not using Hyper Beam out of that. Okay, you need to be aware that Mewtwo's 5Y, okay, its standard weak attack in Duel is a high attack. Your opponent will be able to duck this attack all day long. And they will abuse this fact. Okay, and you need to be aware of that. So this is not something that you want to put out all the time. It's not your go-to move. Like I said, when you get used to using Mewtwo, you're going to get creative with what it is you can do. What's going on with Charizard's leg there? A little line in its leg. Looks like the model's breaking. But that's that. That's a standard weak attack. It's 2Y, low stance weak attack. Is primarily used as a poke. Okay, it's okay as far as pokes go. This is about the range that you can land hits at. Okay, your high stance weak attack it's okay. You're not usually going to use it unless you see your opponent coming at you from afar. Then you'll throw it out, and if that's the case, then you can chain it into a combo. But like in this situation, you're probably not going to use it often, but that's a very good kind of get off me move. It is a high stance attack, so your opponent will be able to attack underneath you and hit you. It's just not something that you're always going to use. It's more situational. You can cancel the end lag of this move with a jump, and it's important that you do so because this is how you're going to chain your combos, and I'll talk more about that later. Mewtwo's what? Low, high, forward? Yeah. The forward weak attack is, or 6Y. I think this is kind of sort of Psycho Cut. There's no official name for it, but you can throw out swords. Okay, so you would do, there's two versions of it. There's 6YY and there's 6YX. Okay, and there's two versions of 6YX. There's one that's got like a just frame on it. So this is 6YY. You're usually using this kind of like as a get off me, or to end a combo. Like if you have your opponent on the wall. Is this something I can do? How about? Okay, and then like hit your opponent like that. The other one is 6YX. You're just about always going to use this move as an ender. You don't really want to use this as anything else. What can I do? I can do this. Alright, that flash that you just heard where Mewtwo flashed gold for a second, that was the just frame that I hit. I'm not always going to hit that in this demonstration, but I'll try. This is what it typically looks like. Okay, if you hit the just frame, you're going to get more damage, and there'll be like a little, you'll hear it. That's what it sounds like. So you do about 20 more damage. Let's see, that's the normal one. There you go, that's the just frame on it. Okay, and that's what it looks like. You're always going to use that as a combo ender. Okay, Mewtwo's JY. Do I want to talk about this now? I think I will. Mewtwo's JY is a very strong attack. It is a weak attack, but it's a very strong weak attack in that it will stagger your opponent while they are in Synergy Burst. So if I go into Synergy Burst, usually weak attacks, you have to hit your opponent a lot to stagger them. Okay, as you can see, Charizard is not staggering, but if you use this move, you will be able to stagger your opponent. This is your combo starter. Okay, the way that you use this move is you need to get the hang of using that short air dash, which you get by jumping and then pressing away from your opponent and the block button. Okay, so if you do it the wrong way, you'll get the regular air dash, which is this. If you do it correctly, you'll get the short one, which is this. Okay, and the more you do it, the more you'll be able to do it consistently. You're doing your JY out of this, so it'll look like this. Okay, right now I'm doing the normal air dash. This is what it looks like off the normal one. If you do it off the short one, that's how it's gonna look. Okay, now you'll be able to chain this together with your I guess your jumping strong attack, so it'll look like this. Alright, and that's your combo starter. Once you land that dive, you can go into, you can do your deal. Okay, let me think. This move scales very hard, so you're gonna do less damage if you do combos starting with this than you will just by doing the raw JX. Okay, just keep that in mind. This move is going to take a lot of practice for you to get the hang of. Okay, you should not feel bad for missing it. Okay, don't feel bad for missing it. That's going to take a lot of time. Okay, I think that is everything for the weak attacks. Okay, next we can do strong attacks. Mewtwo's neutral strong is I forget exactly what you call this move, but it's a fist, right? It takes a step back, hits your opponent with a fist. This causes a hard knockdown. Okay, you can chain this into any specials you like. As you saw earlier, I chained that into Drain Punch. You can also chain it into Confusion. You can chain that into specials however you want. Okay, you usually are going to, well, you can use this in neutral. Okay, you can use it as you see fit. On smaller characters, you can use this out of not confusion. You can use this out of Psychic, and like you would combo into Drain Punch and then continue with some other stuff. And maybe I'll just switch it to a different character so you guys can see that. But that's typically what you're using it for. I like using it. It's a nice attack. Your low strong attack is a 2XX. So you have 2XX. That's what it looks like. All right. The first hit looks like this. The second hit looks like this. There is a just frame on the second hit. You have to time it properly. I may not get it. Nope. Yep, that's what it is. Okay, the second hit, if you get the just frame on it, you'll get an audio and visual cue so that you know you did it properly, and you will cause a little bit more damage. It's kind of hard to use this in neutral, but it's a strong attack. I usually use this just in combos. What can we do? Let me think. How about nope, that didn't happen. Well, I'm screwing up the combos, but that's okay. Let's try again. Oh, well, yeah, you can chain it like that. I was going for something else. That's more like it. Okay, that's what I was trying to go for. Okay. Oy, so embarrassing. Okay. Let's go back to Duel. Okay, so yeah, just frame, yeah, regular hit. Well, that's the just frame, but you guys get the idea at this point. All right, your 8x, your high stance strong attack. This is how you crush grabs. All right, this is flamethrower. Mewtwo shares this move with what? Shares that move with Charizard and Braixen. Yeah, so it just moves you ever so slightly forward, but that is flamethrower. We can go back to standing still. What else we got? Oh yeah, the launcher, 6x. 6x is a juggle launcher. Use this if your opponent whiffed an attack. Typical combo you can use is that into 8y. Into that. That's a typical combo you can get. Does a lot of damage. It's usually the one I like to go for. Because I've kind of optimized those combos and what I want to do. But it's a juggle launcher. Okay, you can use this out of. Well, I'll explain that as I go into the other moves that you can do this move out of. But that's what that is. Your JX is again your it's a in fighting game terminology. It's a dive kick. In this game, it's light screen. You can just use this and then go into whatever combo you like. Again, I like to use that at launch. I like to go for damage like that. It's just really nice. What else we got? That. Okay, that's it for the strong attacks. Special attacks. What else we got? Yeah, that's the dual phase. Okay. Special attack again. Your neutral is Psycho Cut. You can cancel the Psycho Cut again by blocking. In dual phase, you can cancel it into your low special, which I'll explain what that is later. Every other special attack here operates in the exact same manner. Barrier into Sidekick, into Drain Punch, into Confusion, and into Teleport. This is what Teleport looks like in dual phase, so that you can know how far you're traveling. You travel very, very far if you're doing it forward. Not as much if you're traveling backwards. Your low special is Fire Punch. What is this? This is Charizard's Fire Punch, Weavile's Ice Punch, and I don't remember. I think Pikachu has a Thunder Punch. Okay, but this is Fire Punch, Ice Punch, and Thunder Punch. All right. You're usually using this for combo enders, unless you got your opponent throwing out an attack and you went in on them. And you got that. You can also use it for that. Just easy damage. Okay, it will drain your synergy, but who cares as long as you're putting damage on your opponent. Okay. Also, you can just do singles. Oh. You can just use singles like that just to knock them down and tell them to stop. Okay. What else we got? If you do that move on shield, they will be able to grab you out of the second hit. Well, the computer doesn't do what I need it to do, but typically, because once you do it on shield, you won't be able to go into Thunder Punch. You're gonna stop at Ice Punch, and your opponent will get a free grab on you. Okay, so keep that in mind. You want to be judicial with using that. What else we got? We have High Special, which is Mewtwo's signature move in the Pokemon games, which is Side Strike. Okay, Side Strike is a 3-input kind of move. This is what the full version of it looks like. It uses a huge amount of synergy. It will cause a phase shift if you go into the third attack. This move does what? This move has red armor, so if you use it, Mewtwo will still take damage, but Mewtwo will not flinch unless it got hit with like a piercing attack, like Blastoise's Dark Pulse, or like the charge special that Darkrai has, something like that. Yeah, you'll hit through Side Strike. This move, what? you don't want to use this move when you're low on health. If you do it when you're low on health, you won't stagger, but you will take the damage and you will be KO'd by it. Okay. There's like 2 just frames that you can hit at the. Like that's one of them that I hit. That's the second of 2. Let me think. It's when Mewtwo's hand is like straight into the air like that. When it's straight into the air, that's when you need to press the button again. I'm not always good with landing that right now because my headphones are running on a delay of a few frames. Let me try to mute. Let me try to mute everything. Let's see if I can work that way. Okay, so that works a little bit better. So after I muted all of my audio, I was able to land those just frames. But that's what that is. This move is very popular among players to use it on wake up, okay? And it will still catch people who are not expecting to get hit by it, okay? That is that. Let me think. Is that everything? Jumping special, JA is still Focus Blast. I think that's it. Did we cover everything? Hyper Beam still does its deal. If your opponent is in low stance, they're going to evade Hyper Beam always. There's nothing you can do about that. You are able to cancel out of Hyper Beam as usual. I think that's it. I think I covered everything. Good job. Let me think. I guess I could show some combos, right? Oh yeah, right, because your JY scales very hard. So typically if I'm landing a string, I'm probably going to do JY into a dive, and then if I need HP, I'll go for Drain Punch. This is just a me thing, but if I need HP, I'll go for Drain Punch, and that will cause the phase shift, but that will get me the HP that I need. If I don't need HP, but I land it with JY, I will go into I would do JY into JX, and then what? I'll do 6X. 6X into 6YX, and that will give me the phase shift I need. So that should look like that into a launcher into that, and that will give me the wall splat that I need. If I don't land the JY and if I do a raw JX, I'll do the same 6X but go to 8Y and go that way. Okay, and that still gives me the wall bounce that I'm looking for. If my opponent is, if they have like around 120 HP left and I land JX, I'll go into 5X into Hyper Beam. So it's doing more damage here because your opponent is not in the red. When your opponent is in the red, they get a hidden defense buff. So if we look at below a certain value, while the opponent is, when their HP bar goes red, they have a hidden attack and defense buff. You want to pay attention to, it's hard to see in the background, but you want to pay attention to combo damage. So that should look like what? Just land it raw into that. So you know that you're doing 123 damage with that combo. So if you have your opponent anywhere near that, you should be able to get a KO off that. What else? What else do I usually do? If I land 6X raw, same deal. The same deal, that'll be my combo. If I land sidekick for larger characters, I can use that. I don't know, I don't remember if that's the most efficient combo to use. It's kind of expensive in the synergy department. For smaller characters, there's a different combo you can use. Well, there's a different combo I like to use. But yeah, just as you experiment, and then there's like stuff that you can do out of what? Out of confusion. I like to just go for my usual launchers. Okay, like that's doing 229. That's a lot. You can end it with a 5x, but I still think it's better to end it with a hyper beam instead. I think you're still getting more damage off of hyper beam. You can do it. You can end with a fire punch. You can just all kinds of things, okay? And as you play Mewtwo, you'll get used to doing those things, and you'll get used to I guess the timing of your short air dash JYs. All right, I think that's it. Mewtwo's Synergy Burst is what? Let me start a new video first. Okay, Mewtwo's Synergy Burst is not active because I haven't set that to active. Alright, Mewtwo's Synergy Burst looks like this. I don't believe there's any much of a difference with what Mewtwo can do. I think Mewtwo's JY instead is like a kick. It's fun to see. Its flamethrower transitions to like the little stretchy punch. Yep. Shadow Mewtwo's, what is it called? Synergy Burst. No, Burst Attack. Shadow Mewtwo's Burst Attack is a command grab. Okay, this is what it looks like when you hit it. Alright, I'll do it again in a second. But as this move is a grab attack, if your opponent jumps when you use it, you won't hit it. Like that, you will miss completely and look silly and get really embarrassed when you get punished for it. Again, I will show the attack. What else we got? There we go. I could probably get about 20 different thumbnails out of that. All right, and I think that is it for the guide. All right, that's everything. Let me turn everything back on. That's all I got for you guys, all right? I hope this was informative. So I think altogether it took me, what? I said I was going to do a Mewtwo guide in, what? At the time of this recording, I probably said about 6 months ago that I was going to do a Mewtwo guide. And I think when I just started, I had so much fun with Mewtwo, but I realized that I was so far under where I needed to be. I don't recommend Mewtwo for beginners. Of course, some people will be beginner and want to go to Mewtwo. I think that I got more use out of Mewtwo after knowing more about my opponent's movesets, because you're going to want to be kind of finicky about what moves you're using as Mewtwo. It's not like characters like Braixen or Lucario or Pikachu who can use a lot of their moves, or like Sceptile who can use a lot of their moves and, you know, just throw stuff down. Mewtwo has to really pick and choose what it wants to do, and I think you'll probably get that gist in my other Mewtwo videos. Next character I'm looking at Croagunk. I was asked to do Croagunk a long time ago. I'm looking at Shadow Mewtwo. And I think that's it. I may play Charizard on the side, but typically Shadow Mewtwo and Croagunk is what I'm looking at. That's it for the guide. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. If you like a lot of videos, subscribe to the channel. Feel free to look at my other videos. Look at my other Pokkén videos. Check out daily Pokkén. Check out the non-daily Pokkén stuff. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. I'll see you all in the next video. You guys take care, and I'll see you next time.